I was playing with a lot of teams here in town, and Rabbit Swanson from Warren came up and scouted me. So Rabbit was a scout for the Cleveland Indians. So he said, "Well, why don't you come down and work out with Batavia?" They were a Cleveland farm team. I said, "Okay." So, man, I was a nervous wreck that night. You know, you get on there. And I remember Eddie Kobeski was the manager of the Batavia Clippers, right? And so I worked out with him. And so then he came back, and I met with Eddie and Rabbit after the game at the old Hotel Samuels. I remember that. That's where they were staying. The whole, yeah. And so they signed it. So next week they said, "Well, we're going to sign you to a contract." I said, "Oh," I was excited. I said, "Okay." So they came down. Rabbit came to my house. It was like on a Saturday afternoon. Signed me to a contract with the Cleveland Indians. So I was to report to spring training at Daytona Beach, Florida on March 15th of 1951. So I get down there, and there's 500 guys. I thought I was a hot shot. 500 guys, right? And when you went in there, they give you a number, just like in a track meet. You pin it on the back of your uniform. And I was like 498 or whatever it was, you know. Then, and you went in there as an infielder. You didn't care what position you played. You were an infielder. And I had never played anything but third base, ever. And taking batting practice one day. I'm out playing third, working out a little bit of third base. I don't know who the guy is hitting, right? Some guy just come in there was hitting. And he said to me, "Hey kid, move back." You know, somebody had told me when I left home that you should be a little cocky when you get down there. I said, "You hit the ball and I'll move back." Honest to God, and that ball went right between my legs. I mean, I never even saw it. Choom! It goes. And he just stood there and gritted. And I started moving back to the outfield. Right? And he said, "I told you so." It was Rudy York.
Oh.
Rudy York. Came back home because I hated it down there. So I went down there to Hershey's, and I came back north of Olean and played every inning of every game that year in 1951. Every inning. And Orvcott was a third baseman, but he never ever played third base that year. He kept telling me, "Kid, this is your position. Until you prove me wrong, you're going to play here," which was neat.
You played in Olean 51?
52.
In 52.
Right.
Then you went into the service.
Correct.
Did you come back and play? Was that the end of your professional days?
Yeah, that was the end of my professional. I was in the Army, okay, and I'm hitchhiking home from Harrisburg. And here I am, out there on the side of the road. Here goes the Jamestown Falcon bus by. And I'm going, shit, they're going right to Jamestown. Excuse me. Going right to Jamestown. Man, that's a great. Kenny Walters sitting in the back of the bus. He's screaming, "Hey, Jerry, that's Bastian back there." So they stopped the bus. I got on the bus. Now, this is the year after I played against these guys. Got on the bus and had a great time all the way back to Jamestown. Gabby Kentucky was on the bus. When I was playing ball down in Olean, I got to tell you this. We had two umpires, Zorilla and Powers. And those two guys would come on the field, you knew you were going to have a good ball game. Really. Right? And Zorilla was a little left-hander. You know, he was left-handed, but he knew how to call strikes with his right arm. One day I'm in the batter's box, and the pitch come in, I thought it was outside. I thought it was just a little outside, so I'm standing there. You never face an umpire when you want to say anything to him, right? Never. So I'm like this, I'm hitting the dirt out of my shoes, and I'm going, "Zorilla, you blew that one, baby." I was way outside. Not a word did I hear from him back there. Not a word. Usually he's going, "Get back in the box." Didn't say a word. So I got back in the box, right? And I'm ready, right? The next pitch comes right down the chute. I mean, belt high, you know? And there was silence. He goes, "Strike two." There was silence. He goes, "And you blew that one. You know, oh, great. What can you say? So I'm trying to look away from me, and I'm laughing. And so another time, we're up in Hamilton, Ontario. Okay, and I don't know why it's always the Rolling Powers, but it just seemed to work out that way. And it was a close play to home plate. I had made the play, threw it home, and called him safe. That was raving, man. I charged in there, and Zerl was a little guy, right? He's down there sweeping off the plate. I go, Joe, what the hell's the matter with you? You know, come on, you missed that play. He goes, Bastian, when I get through sweeping this plate out, he said, you better be gone. You better be back there. So I watched him. He's just about leaving up. So I turned, right? And I said, well, I can't afford a fine. Yeah, I can't afford a fine. So I'm walking, right? And I'm walking away. I hear this thump, thump right behind me. Foot first, step for step. I get up to about where my position is at third base. Our shortstop, Bruce Schubel, he says, keep going. And I go, oh, Jesus, he's still on me. So I keep going. I get out to the left field, right? The left fielder, Tommy McDonald, goes, keep going. Honestly, you're not going to believe this. I right up underneath the fence, just like now the fans are going crazy. They're going absolutely crazy. You know? So I'm waiting, and pretty soon I hear Tommy McDonald say, okay, now you turn around. So I turn around, and Zarell's walking back, so I got to get him, right? I'm right, step by step right behind him. I've been watching every move, because if he turns, I'm gone. It's going to be costing me money, you know? But the fans loved it. I mean, you don't have it. You don't get that anymore. You know, but it was a lot of fun. Charlie Harmon, our second baseman, was the first black to ever play for Cincinnati. I wish somebody looked that up and make sure that I'm right. But I remember he was playing for the Bisons, and it said Charlie Harmon was going to be the first black to ever play for Cincinnati Reds. And I'm sure he did, because he went on to play with not only Cincinnati, he played the outfield for Philadelphia, and I can't remember. But there was a great guy in Charlie Harmon. One day we're playing Hornell. A little asshole Maury Wills, excuse the expression, he was cocky as a banny rooster. He didn't think anybody could throw him out. He could beat out every play. Well, he proved it. He had to be cocky. He made the majors and he stayed there for a long time. But one day we had a man at first, Charlie's playing second, and Wills hits a bounder to me as third. I go to Charlie at second. He goes back to first to Owens. Boom, boom, double play. And Maury turns to me and he says, I'll get you for that. I'm going, for what? You know, for what? I said, well, there's no time like the present. We met halfway between home and third. And we were really tangling for a while. Out of nowhere comes Charlie Harmon, right? He hated, they're both black. He hated Maury Wills with a passion. And we're on roll on the ground, and Charlie picks it, grabs, reaches down, picks that Maury Wills up, just boom, throws him, right? He goes, now you, he said, now get away from us, you know? I mean, that, you know, and that was really interesting.
All right, those 2 years you ran across, you mentioned a lot of names already. Give me the 5 names in the New York Penn League who you played against who jump out at you and say, those were star quality players.
All right, Charlie Harmon.
Charlie Harmon.
Right. Paul Owens. Mm-hmm. Well, I should reverse that, but that's okay. Frank Bowling. Jimmy Stump. Mm-hmm. Wow. Gabby Waitaki.
Maury Wills.
Well, he wasn't that good. He really wasn't that good at that time. Mm-hmm. He learned to play ball after he left the P.O.N.Y league. I mean, he learned how to hit. He learned how to switch hit. He was not a switch hitter then. Yeah. But he wasn't that good. You know, he was a mediocre ball player, but he worked at it. You know, so we had a hell of a team. Our team batting average was .307, including pitchers, including the pitchers. But Pete Aleo would come over in our locker room. He'd have that whole washing machine iced down with beer. True, but you could only have a beer if you won the game. You know? He stood right there and watched that too. But it was a lot of fun.